Hello, class. So this is going to be my explanation about existential crisis, but also how you can get out of one, and it's all from my own personal experience, and then using the philosophy of existentialism, which can be a super depressing philosophy, but it ends up, I think, being awesome and liberating and great. But you do have to sort of, maybe you don't have to start with the existential crisis, but here you go. This video is not a substitute for the others, so please watch those first, because now I'm going to tell a story, okay? So maybe you all are having an existential crisis right now. A pandemic seems like a good time to be thinking about what is really important in life and what makes life meaningful. And if you're having trouble coming up with an answer, then you're probably having an existential crisis, as in like, I'm having a crisis because I don't know why I exist, that sort of thing. So for me, mine was, I was having trouble figuring out what made my life meaningful because I hated my job. I wasn't teaching then. I was in a sales job, not for me. And I knew it wasn't. And I didn't know if I really was going to go down the road of teaching, or maybe I was going to do all these other things. I was thinking about being a customs agent. Like, how crazy would I have been, or how my life would have been if I'd done that. But I really just did not know what I wanted to do. And the job I had, I felt was completely pointless and not for me. But I did not know, I did not have any direction. I was living alone in St. Louis. My family was 1,000 miles away. I didn't know anybody in St. Louis, really. I knew one person. And so I was lonely. I was pretty much broke. There was one day when I had to look through the couch cushions for spare change, and I was able, to the penny, to find enough money to walk down to the grocery store in my neighborhood and buy a can of soup so that I had something to eat for dinner. That's how broke I was. So I was kind of in a bad place with all of that, I guess. But really the problem was I just didn't know what my purpose was, what I should be doing. And if I had known about existentialism at the time, I think I could have gotten out of that depression more quickly. I really didn't, though. I hadn't studied about existentialism yet. So mine was not brought on by, a crisis of faith like you would have read about in the textbook or in a lot of these videos. For me, even if everything I learned in Sunday school was true, which would be cool, actually, and God had a major plan, well, I would say great, but that's really vague. Like if I am a strand, I'm a single thread of a tapestry that spans all of space and time, and he's creating the tapestry, but I can't even see the tapestry, be like, that's not good enough for me. Sorry, I need something more personal and whatever. That's way too vague for me. And existentialism would have and does provide an answer, and it's a great answer, okay? But I didn't know about existentialism at the time, so I just remained depressed for a really long time. And the only way I got through it was I kept going. I kept going out, doing new things, thinking about what I wanted to do, meeting new people, doing research, taking classes, even though I'd already graduated from college. And, eventually I found my path, and I've been very happy. But for a while there, it was really depressing. And so if you find yourself in that situation, I would say, keep going. Sometimes people get so depressed, they think about taking a short way out, and that's a terrible, terrible idea, because I can tell you, you can get through it, and my life's awesome. But I sure didn't think it was going to be at the time. So just keep going, or just keep swimming, as Dory would say. So that's what I did. But if I had known about existentialism, I could have gotten out more quickly, because existentialism teaches us that we absolutely have free will. I'm a big fan of free will. I've always liked free will. I don't like the idea that everything is, fated and whatever. But with existentialism, your life does not have value until you choose to give it meaning, and you choose what that meaning is and what it is that's going to do it for you. So what that means is no one can tell you what your life's purpose is. I can't tell you. I mean, no one could have told me. In fact, if someone had told me like, oh, Craig, I think you're supposed to do this and this, I would have been like, yeah, great. No, you have to figure it out for yourself. And that can be a struggle. And so that's part of the existential crisis part. But once you figure it out, you're good. Okay? And you honestly need to just choose whatever it is that's going to make you happy and make you feel like your life is meaningful, that you have direction and purpose and whatever. And it may not come to you like that. Sure didn't for me. I went back and forth with it for a couple of years. Not that I was depressed that entire time, but anyway, you just keep going. But once you make the decision or realize, I guess, what it is that you want to do, the next thing is deciding whether or not to actually pursue that. And I say that that's a choice because it is. There are plenty of people who want to be an artist or something, and they end up, going into law, or something like that. And maybe they're okay with their job and all that, but they're not really pursuing what it is that they truly wanted and would make their lives more meaningful. And to me, that it's an absolute shame, but I get it because at the time, you have to choose a direction. And so you're like, well, at least with that, I can make money and, whatever. And so that's how people get into their jobs a lot of the time. But an existentialist would say, okay, but you don't have to stay in that job. Like once you figure it out, do that. And if you don't, well, that's your choice. You choose not to pursue the career that you want, or you choose not to do what it is that you actually want to do. And that's dumb, but that's on you. So existentialism puts a lot of responsibility on you as an individual. And it says, it is ultimately up to you how your life turns out. Now that's not true when you're a kid, because you can't choose a lot of that stuff that we already talked about. You can't choose your economic status as a kid, or who your parents are, or where you live, or what country you are, or what language you speak, or whatever. But once you're an adult, like you guys are, you are empowered to make those decisions. You can get up and move to a different state. Maybe not during a pandemic, but you can get up and move, generally speaking, go live in Alaska. I had a friend who did that. He became one of those fisherman guys that you see on the deep sea fishing shows. He did that for like a year. Crazy. But you can do that stuff. You just have to choose to do it. So even though existentialism is about depression, severe depression in a lot of cases, I love that it offers a way out. But the thing is, it's on you to find your way out. And that's pretty much what I did with mine. I just didn't know what to call it. And I putzed around and wallowed in my depression for way too long. I'm very happy now. And I'm happy that, I get to have my job, and I love my job, at least when I get to see you guys. But that's it. And it's why I love existentialism, because it says the ball is in your court. You make your life whatever you want it to be, and whatever makes you happy, then go and do that, and don't settle for anything else. And I think it's a great message. I think it's positive. I hope you think about it. All right. See you guys soon. Hopefully. Maybe.